Shalom. Today's idea is probably one of the most fascinating phenomenon that people that say they believe in God blame God for things that are bad. And it's obviously it's an expression of pain. Rabbi Nachman says it's an expression of our lack of understanding of why things happen. Little children get killed. Young people go to war and get killed. All kinds of things happen to all kinds of people every day on this planet, and we say everything's from God. So either we define God as being cruel, or we own our own lack of understanding and don't blame the one that we determine, that we define as the merciful, the kind, the loving, the all patient. So you see, we leap into a contradiction the moment we blame God for what hurts. And this is something we need to fix fast as possible. And it's not so hard. We have to understand that we don't understand, which is not so hard to do, right? I understand that I don't understand, but it still hurts. And I say, well, it hurts because I haven't seen the bigger picture. If you knew that a baby died because it only needed to come back to nurse from its mother, from a Jewish mother for a certain amount of time, and that was the repair of its soul, you would accept. Or if you learn that the people from October 7th that were brutally murdered had signed on in heaven before they came to this world to be the martyrs for a greater cause of the Jewish people, it might be a little easier to accept. And so this impulse that we have of blame, we see it everywhere. Rabbi Nachman says it's the root of the fixing of the sin of the tree of knowledge, tov v'ra. That's a long sentence. Let's simplify it. You want to fix the tree of life? Well, we want to be attached to the tree of life. How do we do it? We got to detach from the knowledge of good and evil and understand that there is an all goodness and all oneness behind the picture. What is the goodness and all oneness? Is that there's a big, big plan for every soul out of all the billions of souls. There's a big plan for every single person that comes into this world. And we don't see it and we can't hold it. And our software cannot grasp it. And so the first thing I have to do is accept that I really don't understand, but I really do understand that there is such a plan. And the Creator is such a phenomenal being to record and project into reality every single life that's been since the beginning. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot right there. To accept that there's a plan and every soul has a path and every soul has a repair and that we're part of that. And if God sends us a disaster, a painful event, we attribute it to God, but it still hurts. But the hurting is from our side, from our limitation. And we don't want to go to blaming God, even though God doesn't blame us for blaming him because he's big enough. He understands us better than we understand ourselves. And so we don't have to blame him because I don't understand. I just have to say, well, I'm a human being. I'm a limited entity, but I'm connected to a very unlimited creator. Now, so we see the pain is the problem, how we process pain. The minute I release my understanding to a greater understanding, then the pain subsides a little bit. And the more I remember and see the perfection of the events, how they really did need to happen, how they really were perfect for that moment in time and place, for that soul to go through this event, then I get acceptance. When I get acceptance, my mind expands a little more. And then I see a bigger picture. And then when I look at the interactions and their interconnectedness of events that surround the tragedies of this world, the mind opens even more. And I absorb a little more of, wow, there really is this program for every being on this planet. And it's not meaningless. It has purpose. It has direction. And then I could come to a little bit of peace and acceptance at an even greater level, that everything really is for good and it's not just a religious paraphrase. It's not a moniker. It's not a formula of words to assuage my pain. It's a deep, deep truth that God has given us to understand what and why He's created us in this world. And, if I miss any of these pieces in the process, I'm going to still have retribution, or I'm still going to have recriminations on God or on myself. I could blame myself and be one of those people that suffers the, I should have, until he beats himself up, until it becomes a personality fixation. I've seen so many people like this in my own practice. It's astounding. People will blame themselves for the wrong things. We blame ourselves for not being perfect. Who ever said we're supposed to be perfect? Where's that written? Where's it written that I'm not supposed to be rejected? I'm not supposed to break up with somebody. I'm not supposed to suffer the things that we suffer. Where's that written? But when I get that, all of a sudden, the pain subsides. So this Rosh Hashanah, let's try to expand the lens the way the rabbis teach us. First, we sit still. Like Aaron Kohen, when he got news that his two sons were killed, they weren't killed riding motorcycles after a party. They were killed going into the tabernacle to bring an incense offering to the creator of the universe. But they did it at the wrong time, without permission. And it says Aaron Dom. He was quiet. But Dom is a deep type of quiet. It's like a cessation of all noise, all mental noise, gone. Utter, complete silence and stillness before the creator of the universe. That his children were, two of his beautiful, awesome, righteous sons were taken because they wanted to do something before its time. And then we can start questioning that and say, well, why is it such a harsh punishment for such a good thing they wanted to do? But we don't understand that the level they were on, that when you have the level of the divine presence in front of you, you can't move left or right. You can't decide things on your own. You have to ask God for the next thought, the next feeling, the next direction, because that's how precise He runs the world. Down to the molecules, down to the atoms that fools are still splitting to try to destroy each other. So, this is my blessing to all of us, that we learn that silence before God, the acceptance that creates the expansion, that creates the specification of what's happened, the interactions, the interrelationships of all the details of all the events, of all the tragedies, and to accept that I'm not perfect. And so that if I did make a poor decision, understand that, well, I couldn't have made any other decision because I wasn't at the level of consciousness I needed to be to make the right decision. And I can forgive myself for not being perfect. And I can say, next time I'll try to do better. And I learn this over and over every day. We always seem to forget to pray before we make the wrong decision. To really pray and let go of the answer before we make the action. And ask God, you help me make the action. God, you intervene here. Show me what to do. You say, well, everybody says, well, Avraham, how do I know? Well, you know by practicing it and by feeling it inside and by that release of the stress of not knowing. And from there, you become a new person. Have a great new year. We'll be around this week before the great day of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement for all the Jewish people to come back to our oneness, to our source. God bless.